Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Chasing That Money Show, the show that's all about entrepreneurship and making that money. Before we get started, please go ahead and like and subscribe my channel. And with that being said, let's get started. Time for money. On this episode, I would like to tell you about one of my first businesses, one of my first entrepreneurial ventures. It's interesting, and I think there's a lot to learn. I was working in corporate America, working in IT, and had got disgusted with it actually. And I wanted to do something out of that whole structure, out of that whole corporate environment, and I wanted to be outside. And one day I was at home and I'm looking outside. It was a beautiful sunny day, and I saw someone cutting grass. And I thought, maybe that's something that I could do. I mean, you only work when it's nice outside, sunny outside. When it's raining or bad weather, you don't have to work. In the wintertime, you don't have to cut grass. You just cut it on those summer days. And I thought about, well, I have a lawnmower, a weed whacker, a leaf blower, and I also have a pickup truck. Why not? And so what I did was I created a lot of flyers, put the flyers out, and sure enough, I got a couple of calls. And I started cutting grass. $25 a yard. And I had 2 or 3 customers. And I really liked it. Except it didn't pay enough money. And some of those days it was a drought going on. Some of those days it was in the 90s. And even when I cut grass earlier, it was still hot. But the bottom line, it wasn't the heat. It was the fact that I wasn't making enough money. Added with that, every time that I would pull up in front of a house, there would be several trucks pulling up at other houses with teams of people getting out and cutting grass. My Hispanic brothers, they are a powerhouse in the cutting grass industry. They can't be beat, both for quantity and quality. I gotta give them their props. I'll tell you how how crazy it is. While I was out cutting grass, I end up hiring one of my Hispanic brothers to cut my grass at my house. Now, that ain't crazy. And they would cut it for $20 a week, cheaper than what I could cut it for. And they did a better job. So that's a whole nother story. I realized that I just couldn't compete. I wanted more money, but I couldn't ask for any more. I'm already getting $25 a week when they only charge $20. Okay. We all know that it is most crowded at the bottom of the barrel. I needed to get out of the bottom. I needed to get above the crowd where I can differentiate myself and with that charge more money. Well, but the question is, what am I going to do? Well, remember I said there was a drought happening. So people needed water on their grass. Sprinkler system. Everyone needs a sprinkler system. That's it. I decided that I was going to install sprinkler systems. But I've never installed a sprinkler system. I've never owned a sprinkler system. Actually, I didn't know anybody who even had a sprinkler system. So there was a problem there. But good old YouTube, I went right to it and just started watching video after video on how to install sprinkler systems. I went to Amazon, bought a couple of books, step-by-step instructions, sprinkler systems for dummies. That was it. I used that and learned as much as I could. And once I got ready and I felt that, you know what, I can actually do this. But I needed the sprinkler systems and the pieces that go with it. So I went online and searched locally, see if there was a place local to me where I can go and buy these different parts. And it was. It was. It was maybe 20 minutes from my home. So one day I went there and I go in and there's one guy there, older guy, behind the counter. And I walk up to him. How you doing, sir? I'm just starting a business, installing sprinkler systems, and I was wondering if you could give me a few pointers, let me know what I need to buy. The guy, he took a step back and he looked at me. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this was a stupid move. At this counter that he was standing at the end of the counter, there was a chair. And he said, actually, it was a stool. He said, have a seat. I went down, sat on the stool. A couple of people came in, bought some parts. He talked with them and stuff like that. I'm just sitting there. A street vendor came in, street, selling stuff. Ginsu knives. Craziest thing I ever heard of. He gave the owner, later I found his name was Tony. He gave Tony his pitch about the Ginsu knives, and then he asked me, he said, hey, what you think about these knives? And I said, oh, pretty good. I would like to try one. So Tony ended up buying 2 sets of Ginsu knives, and he gave me one. And that was the beginning of just a wonderful friendship. He began to teach me everything that I needed to know, not just installing and troubleshooting, but pricing of the sprinkler systems. I mean, this was great. And of course, I would buy the sprinkler systems from him. He had the top name brand, which is Rainbird. So he had the #1 system. And so it was very smart on his part to encourage people to get in the business and then buy from him. He told me about his father had started the business many years ago, and he had 2 sons, but his sons didn't want to have anything to do with the business. So he felt that it was going to die with him. So he felt that he should teach anyone who wanted to learn about the sprinkler systems. So I did. The system cost $300. So I bought it. And again, I put out flyers and I got some calls. Now, here's the crazy part. I end up hiring a couple of guys, labor guys that could do some digging and that I can tell them what to do while I dealt with setting up the computerized system in the house. Let me give you some numbers. The system was $300. I spent another $100 on odds and end pieces, shovels and stuff like that. Sometimes I would rent a digging machine. I would pay my 2 guys a couple of $100 a piece. But I would charge $5,000 per sprinkler system. Now remember, I was making $25 a week per home for cutting grass. Now I'm charging $5,000. I'm spending out of the $5,000 maybe $700 at most, and the rest is all profit. This is a lesson learned. It's about separating yourself from the pack. It's about doing what it takes to make you look different, to make you more appealing, bringing more skills to the marketplace so you can charge more money. It was a great learning experience. I loved doing it. I met some great people out there. But it was lessons that I still live by today. Don't be satisfied with being in the crowd. Get the price that you're comfortable with. If you're making money but you're not happy, if you're not satisfied, well, you need to do something else so you can be happy at what you're doing. And once you're happy at what you're doing, getting the price that you want, people will be willing to pay you even more. because they know if you're happy, you're going to do a good job. Lesson learned. Well, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. And until next time, be blessed. Time